Hello, everybody. I was having some trouble with that tonight.
Hi guys, I'm Lady Falana, CEO and founder of Endure Entertainment. When you think of clean entertainment, think of Endure Entertainment. When you think of Endure Entertainment, think of clean entertainment. The Endure Entertainment television personalities. We are the A-Team. We're more than just a team, we're family. Look at all of the different syndicated podcast directories we are on. Go ahead and download those apps so you don't miss our shows on the go. Endure Entertainment LLC started October 2021. Now we're in 17 countries outside of the United States. Featured in CBS, Fox, and NBC. Gospel Choice Music Awards nominated for Independent Broadcast Network of the Year. We do more than just TV. We also do virtual concert extravaganzas. Our last one this past January was off the chain. You can look at our shows, virtual concert, and TV 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at endureentertainment.live. Radio. Next coming up is going to be the radio station of the year on Endure Entertainment. Ever thought about having your own show, television, radio? Would you like to get some exposure with your radio edited version of your performing artistic abilities? Take a look at Endure Entertainment.
Hey, everybody, and sorry, my face is cutting me off right there. I don't know how that happened. Only me. How does that even happen? I don't know what I'm doing half the time. That's part of the problem. There we go. All right. So I was having a lot of trouble tonight with seems like everything, but I mean it really wasn't. Well, I only missed 14 minutes. All right, so hello. Let's get into it. I hope everybody's having a good week. Tonight we're doing a couple of things here, which is I know one's First Peter, and I also wanted to go into a little bit of psychology, and what I've been learning that interests me is so many people now, and part of what's going on with the world to me is a group polarization and group talk, which are actually two different subjects, but I'll get into those in a little bit. I wanted to start with the devotion here, if we can, and this is for today, August 6th. So I did open up this one and look for August 6th. I just wanted to see what it said because of the day that I was having. And it says, Dear Jesus, thank you that I am safe, secure, and complete in you. Help me to stop my anxious striving and just come to you with the matters that are on my heart. I need to trust you enough to be open and honest as I tell you about the concerns weighing me down. I can give all my worries and cares to you, for you care about me. You're taking care of me. I find the rest of it in the shelter of your presence. Whenever I wander away and leave you out of my life, I no longer feel complete. The restlessness I experience in these times is actually a gift from you, reminding me to return to my first love. I need to make you central in my thoughts and feelings, my plans and my actions. When you are the center of my life, I'm able to live meaningfully and according to your will. You've set my feet on a pathway to heaven, and you are my constant companion. When I encounter trouble as I journey with you, I love to hear your words of reassurance. Take heart, I overcame the world. All right. Oh Lord, in your presence, I'm indeed safe. In your victorious name, amen. And that takes from Peter 5:7, NLT, Psalm 31:20, Revelation 2:4, and John 16:33. So that one, I'm not quite used to that book yet, so it's brand new to me. But going into that, I wanted to really talk about what sober-minded means to most people, because it seems like it's the more I get into it, it seems like it's really misunderstood, I guess I could say, which gets it really, I'd say, confused and conflicted. Is that a good word? Can I use that one for this one? All right. And with that, sorry, I got to get a change of atmosphere here. That's better. And with that, I mean, a sober mind just doesn't mean you're drunk. I mean, you're sorry, clean of substances. What we're getting down to is your mind clear. You know, the devil can make you drunk, but are you really, really sober minded? And I had a better way I wanted to look into this, which I will in just a second. I really think of this when I think of the people in group therapy. And as you all know, I'm studying for my psychology master's now. And it's important to me to get a better understanding of how everything works right now in this world and kind of this mess we're living in. Um, it's complicated. I got to watch what I say here sometimes. Um, sometimes, and that's just the way it goes. All right. So what I was going to do, and here it is. I wanted to start this with First Peter 5:8. Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. Be alert and be of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. Be alert, sober minded, and alert. That's the strangest way I've ever seen that reading. I don't remember it repeating itself, but hey, that's okay. We can hear it twice. Good enough. So here we go. This is from actual my psychology books for class. And we're going to go into group polarization first. But this is important, is what are group polarization and groupthink? How much power do we have as individuals? The actual definitions. This goes into prejudice with group polarization and groupthink as well. And we end up with how leaders, for example, over the years, Jim and Tammy Faye Baker, Jim Jones, you can think of Adolf Hitler if you want to try and keep that out of my mind. But the polarization, it creates a point where you're not an individual anymore. I mean, you're part of this group think process. And the best way to avoid the dangerous side effects of groupthink is for the leaders to be very open, encouraging towards the views and criticisms of other members of the group. That way, a more robust discussion can occur, and potentially overlooked flaws in a plan can be caught and remedied. I usually highlight this stuff first, so it would give me the exact definition, so I don't paraphrase them and get everybody confused. Because that's something I do is go down a rabbit hole when I get thinking too much. And realistically, I don't really need the notes, but again, okay. Group polarization works this way, and right now is a perfect time to say this. Okay, this is when it comes to political polarization, which basically that just means loathing across party lines. That means, if you don't know what loathing is, it's hatred, you despise it, or something like that. And we see a lot of that right now because there's so much stuff that's not factual, and nobody's going into like actually looking at facts. Instead, what they're going into is saying, well, whatever Trump says is right, whatever the group's saying is right, because that's where you get stuck in the group think, and it gets everybody it's like-minded. Group think is, hey, whatever Trump's saying, that's what I'm going to agree with, and Trump's fans, so on and so on. Like, let's be realistic about this. People have been hurt since January 6th over this man's claims of the election being stolen. which it clearly wasn't even in the, people just took time to study anything. Even if you looked at where he's talking about the Electoral College votes would not make up for what the popular vote would override right there. I mean, not by popular vote, but Biden would still have more Electoral College votes. And the election was in no way stolen. There's been no proof shown, and so on and so on. And that's why he's in court right now. I know that I got an email today from the Trump PAC, and it was begging for donations to help him fight in a lawsuit against CNN. And to me, I honestly find that stuff a little bit offensive and bothersome. If a man is this wealthy and he so much believes in himself, he put his own money up, and instead of saying, "Hey, I know you make $12 an hour, but send me whatever else," it's like he's asking for tithings, and it's so screwed up, and it's making everybody really in a group of this works the same way as prejudice or discrimination. I mean, if you're on the left, you're a bad guy. To the right, if you're on the right, the left is all bad people. And it all goes without really any type of study involved in any kind of political science whatsoever. I mean, this is just people regurgitating rhetoric they hear on TV or they see on Facebook. It was proven, fact-checked, that Trump fact-checked, okay? This is not somebody making it up. Fact-checked, told over 30,000 lies live in public forums when he was president. Now, you don't have to like that. You don't have to like hearing it. That doesn't really affect me none. It's the truth. And I'm not going to go through Obama's numbers or even Biden's. I mean, they're not even close at this time. But the two that would come closest would be George W. Bush and Bill Clinton, which are not even to a quarter of what fact checks have shown that Trump has lied about. And this isn't necessarily about Trump, but it's about the hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. It's about the groupthink process. All right. So if you've got one person that say that you find legitimate or you find respect in these people, okay? Well, they'll say that they abuse that, like a Tucker Carlson. Like I've watched things for the years where he's definitely changed his opinion, and it just doesn't. It never adds up. Tucker Carlson was a failure trying to get in the CIA. He did not pass the test. He worked for a magazine that you would very much could correlate with National Enquirer back from the 80s and 90s and so on. And he's a failure. Then he got his forum on Fox News, which is very heavily biased. I mean, Rupert Murdoch, who owns it, is now pulling the strings from Trump because it's getting Fox in trouble and less viewers. And here's Rupert Murdoch's bottom line is he's not even American. All he cares about is the tax structure. And I kind of get it. I mean, that's where they say business is business, right? All right. So I can't go over that part. Trying to figure out what I can go through without offending anybody, even though it's facts, but still people get hurt over the smallest things, and it's just the way it goes. All right, so here's what group polarization can feed. It can feed extremism and even suicide terrorism. Analysis of terroristic organizations around the world revealed that the terrorist mentality does not erupt suddenly on a whim. It usually begins slowly among people who share a grievance. As they interact in isolation, sometimes with other brothers and sisters in camp, their views grow more and more extreme. Increasingly, they categorize the world as us against them. True. Given that the self-segregation of the like-minded polarized people, A 2006 U.S. National Intelligence estimate speculated that operational threat from self-radicalized cells will grow. And that is what keeps happening. And what I always like to tell people is cause and effect. I know I'm not doing that great tonight because I've got this so jumbled together in what I can't say and can't say. Um, when I bring that about, you have to think about it. And I can go back to cause and effect on everything. This includes women's rights. But let's go back to the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921. That was a reemergence of the Klan that got a bunch of people like-minded in that group, which became polarized and became groupthink as well. So they didn't know what was right and wrong because they were so mind warped that they were just going by whatever was told to them. I mean, that's as simple as I can possibly put it. So does that make it right or wrong? To me, I like to be an individual, and I have noticed strictly. Look, I'm 46 years old. I can. I don't have to speak like a child anymore that'll get in trouble for it. So what happened to make this reemerge in recent years? I just gave you a cause and effect. Estimated once at 30 people were killed in the Tulsa Race Massacre, and then it's estimated at 300. Nobody knows because somebody's went in the river, somewhere in mass graves. It's still not been figured out to this day. I know there's new excavation ordered. But what started this was based on a lie that somebody made up. And, well, not somebody, a lady made up and basically false accused a young man of doing something that he didn't do. And they were looking forward to a lynching. Is that groupthink and that group polarization kept going. That's all they were interested in is basically taking the law into their own hands on this kid that didn't do anything, which, by the way, they never found him. They never caught him. And he got away and disappeared. But that's after a whole community in a 100,000 mile city, about a 10,000 unit community was destroyed. And that's the truth. So what does that get me at right now? That takes me to the last 6 years. Okay. And this is what people are going to love to argue with me. And really, this is one of those where I can strongly say, I don't care. Just bring it on to me. Bring it on to me privately. Don't take it out on Endure because I don't speak for Endure on some of my views. With the last 6 years, you know, I could remember a specific, and when I say get down to root cause and effect, I can remember specifically when Trump refused to denounce the Proud Boys, which are just an offshoot of the Klan. I mean, all he had to do is say, you know, I don't agree with them. My people, you shouldn't agree with them. You shouldn't go with their stupid far right wing mentality nonsense. I mean, conspiracy theories left and right. Instead of, I believe correctly that Trump said, you know, there's good people. That's enough to say, to add, but there's good people. One of them did something wrong, but they're good people. Not if everybody's like-minded. That's where that excuse doesn't hold water at all. Now let's get up to, I barely want to touch on this one, but the Roe versus Wade thing. I'm not going to say my opinions on abortion. I think it's very, very disgusting that some people use it as birth control. I can't say that. But what that did is the overturning of it, they also made it very vague and very blurry in what exactly was going to change. You know, to me, I'd said in talking with my sister and a few other people that this is going to open up the floodgates, and it absolutely has opened floodgates. I mean, now there's, I think it was Walgreens or CVS and these different places that now are kind of all making up their own laws because as broad as they made that, you've got trigger states, which I don't know if anybody understands what that is. But then you've also got other states like Kansas, who basically they don't have to overturn it if they don't want to, which is fine and dandy again. But what you weren't thinking in this is the inherent evil that can come from cheering on history and repeating history. and it gets really bad. Now, instead of going into this too far, what I will tell you is that it's getting to a point where uh, people that have molested people, even incest, it could get as bad. Some of these guys, one in Texas, one in Florida, is suing for back child support and for child custody. And there's another one in Texas, but hopefully that goes nowhere. But to the bigger picture, and it's going to keep growing. That's what happens when you open those floodgates, And then, of course, then we've got flooding in Kentucky. That's God bless them, man. I think the totals were up to somewhere around 40 today. I know they found 3 or 4 more bodies in a river up there. And since I am from Kentucky, I could explain that all, but that would take a whole other episode. In the mentality of the hills, and people are just not wanting to leave there because of looting in other parts of Kentucky. There are people running to Hazard, Perry County, Jackson, um, many others, just to go up there and loot. And it's a crazy situation. But there's also, on the good side, Jesus has called people in there to bring water, cleaning supplies, help these people clean up what they can salvage. But this is going to take a long time to clean this one up. And it's just, unpredicted national disasters that we don't prepare for, because everybody always, we all think that, me included. No, it's never going to be me. Well, I was wrong. It was me. Just last year, not even a year ago today, I did die and was sent home to die. It's never going to happen to me. Yeah, when it's right in your face, that's kind of, that's the harsh reality you have to understand. So, instead of going any more into that, what I was going to say is there's certain medicines that people need to basically stay alive. There's autoimmune issues, kidney issues, epilepsy, and even migraines. That there's certain medications that they're trying to ban now that would treat all these. And there's even MS drugs and so on and so on. So there's somebody's of childbearing age. Basically, again, another broad written law that they can't have these medications. I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't think it's going to pass. But that's, when you get that going like that, that's what happens, is it creates a snowball effect where it's rolling down the hill, and it's just getting worse. Such a mess. Hold on. All right. I want to move on from there. Okay. This is where I go into, there's like a million quizzes through the work I have to do. And it's like, sometimes I'm like, but that's a good one. Group polarization is most likely to occur in which of the following groups? A group in which little communication is possible. B, a group in which individuals share similar opinions. C, a group in which each individual has a unique perspective. D, a group in which individuals have not formed any opinion. That could go so many ways, but what I do know, and I did get it correct, is group polarization does not create new opinions, but it strengthens existing opinions of those who already agree with each other. This is where you get in your danger zone. When you got a bunch of people who are like-minded and the polarization kicks in, I mean, you're talking like the super church. Wow, Jim and Tammy Faye Baker. I mean, it's not a victimless crime. They robbed millions of people. And let's go straight back into who I like to talk about anyway, because it fascinates me how many people listen to this man. Jim Jones came along with his own views. Top of the pyramid right there. And he believes, same as David Koresh did in Waco, that he's some kind of prophet. And that didn't work. I mean, it worked for them for a while. They had their own small little colonies. And it's disturbing, to say the least. If Jim Jones could get 900 people to drink that flavor aid laced with cyanide. And, it was telling them to drink the juice. And these people were doing it because they all believed they were going to the kingdom with Jim Jones. And no. But that's what I wish more and more understood. Even when you get on your political sides, left and right can be dangerous, because if you're following one person's ideologies and narcissism, as in Trump, and I don't know, and I'm not a doctor yet, but he throws off some signs to me. As everybody's just going to say this is me hating on Trump. It's not that, man. If you can sit there as a good Christian, and I had this happen to me, where a pastor said, you have to align yourself with who you can morally and ethically align yourself with. And he said his was Donald J. Trump. I was like, man, I'm out of this church. And that's what I did. I walked out. Because that's disturbing. I mean, it's just disturbing. This guy doesn't have a clean history. He's gone bankrupt like 40 times and talks about how rich he is constantly. And what needs to be talked about is, let's say, for example, right now where these floods ravaged Kentucky, these are the 13 poorest counties in the entire United States. And in these counties, don't get me wrong here, they had the largest turnout of Trump voters per capita in Kentucky. Now, because Trump and Mitch McConnell had both gone there and spoke to him and gave him hope about being pulled out of this mess that became the coal mining industries, and they didn't do any of that. But yet these people like the tough talk and so on and so on. And I'll say people like Donald Trump are very charismatic, and that earns you points right there. Period. When they think you're anti-government, against the system, anarchy, yeah, man, people dig that. That's why so many like different things than we tend to. But the point to remember: by connecting and magnifying the inclinations of like-minded people, the internet can be very, very bad, but also very, very good. So when people are spreading these videos around Facebook, and this is where it's going to go into a form of hatred and bigotry, realistically, when people are posting up their videos and their views of what they believe in, and people are saying, "Oh, this must be the truth. This must be the truth. This is showing us the end of the earth's coming because of government spying on us, this and that." Man, live your life. I mean, come on, seriously, come on, really. I can't say that. It's tough to believe that so many people spend so much time on conspiracy theories when they could be spending time, like I do. And this is not saying be me, but I'm saying I spend a lot of time meditating and taking baths and talking to God, and that seems to work out better for me because. Look, what I know is all these people that the flat earthers and all these people that are predicting the end of days. Well, I've got to give you one thing that you can't do is we can't predict the end of days. Only God can predict the end of days. And I stay out of your conversations mostly because, you're going on little to no knowledge, when there's more important things out there that are really, really destroying the population as a whole. One of them that is one of my bigger specialties, I would say, is drugs and alcohol. And it's getting to a pandemic level with how many people fentanyl's killing. It's raising every year. I think, I can't remember from last week, I guess it was, but I think it's like raised 53% in Kentucky. And only behind Kentucky is North Carolina. So that's two states that I'm specifically talking to, and two states where I've lived most of the last 20 years. It's fascinating to me, but it's how very different counties can be in each place. North Carolina and Kentucky kind of mimic themselves in certain ways. Like, you've got a few cities, we've got Lexington and Louisville. People like to call Bowling Green a city. I don't know. That's up to you. I guess they just want to hang off St. Louis there. But the same in North Carolina. You've got Winston-Salem. You've got Charlotte. Maybe Raleigh, somewhat. But again, that's based on everybody's opinion. The rest of it, you have a lot of rural areas, a lot of very poor areas, and they don't concentrate on those. They're saying, where are the drugs coming from? And a lot of people are saying the Mexican border, and repeating that nonsense over and over again. That's not where the majority of the drugs are coming from. The fentanyl especially is coming from China and India. And a lot of it has been circumvented now to the East Coast because we put so much concentration on that border wall and things like that and think that's going to stop it. Man, that's no way. There's no way. It's very Greek mythology here. The Trojan horse. And there is no wall that can keep anybody out of it that's determined to break it. You can't. And that's just the truth. And really, it's also I can go into and say this is God's land. You're not supposed to set up your own borders, but that's not going to help any situation anytime soon. To me, I just find that as again polarization, and that's exactly what happened. And the Hispanics were getting blamed for everything that was going on when the Chinese and even the Indians were sitting over there, making more and getting away with it more. So, sometimes you create your own demons. And, I do believe in that. So, that's another damaging thing that can come from polarization. And, if you think about it realistically, like in any Muslims that I know are the most peaceful people in the world. They really are. So, but they get pigeonholed by one far right group that's, that's extreme Muslim, like extreme red state. I don't know a better term to call it. I know a better term, but I can't say it, so I'm not going to. If you think the Proud Boys represent the all of the Republican Party, that would be a failure on our part right there. And I very much mean that. And if you think these extremists, and if you think what, I'll get into that in a minute, but really, it's irresponsible for us to say, well, every Republican's bad because of this certain group of jerks out there that's making everybody look bad. They make the United States as a whole look bad. But that's where it gets hard. Because, I've not got the exact numbers, but I'm sure I could figure them out. Give me till next week on that one. Yes. All right. In a recent study, the decision-making process leading to the ill-fated insurrection, they discovered that a soaring morale of the recently elected president and his advisors fostered undue confidence. And that is exactly what happened. And what nobody's thinking of is the families of those who got hurt and injured. Did they deserve this? And it was really, I don't care if you love the guy or not, you can't agree with everything a flesh man is sitting there telling you to believe because he says it. That's false prophecy. It's false witness. And, but you've got so many people that are just like, oh, no, that's okay. That's what we were supposed to do. Stop the steal. So you commit crimes to stop what you consider a crime. That makes a whole lot of no, it just don't make sense. And you can't say it does, but you also can't argue with somebody that's so stuck in that group mentality and mob mentality and polarization and groupthink. It doesn't even work that way. What does it take to change all this? What does it take to change a group as a whole? It's individualism. It's different ideas. It's brainstorming. It's not saying one person is completely right. I wish I had a whole bunch of marbles. You take one marble, it's red. All the rest of them are yellow. Okay. And then the red marble is telling 100 yellow marbles what to do. Well, one marble agrees and two marbles agree. Then guess what? The 98 other agree. And then you've got a mob mentality and polarization and the group think. Now, that's saying a lot in all this stuff because it needs to be thought of. Um, there's another way too to look at it as well. Despite the dangers of group think, there's also instances where two heads are better than one, and that's meaning though from two different varied opinions, and you come together and you draw a conclusion together. Or three makes up a church or a group. If you've got your group, don't have one leader. I've got my own group over on Facebook. It's called G and Three and Associates of Sober Minds, and I don't consider it my group because I've got so many people in there. Basically, a lady who is more of a biblical scholar than I am runs the page. Her name's Erica Bird. She's just awesome. So, instead of me making it, it's my rules, it's my group. I started the group. I don't do that at all. If I come up with something that they find they don't like, they'll be quick to let me know. And, I think at one point people are like, okay, is he going to be cool with that? Or is he not going to be cool with it? Okay, he's cool with it. Yes. And that's just because that's the way I am. And luckily that comes from a great mother that taught me well. It's important, especially, basically the girl who manages and really runs my group and is such a good she's a good handler for me is the best way I can put it. And but that helps. I come from a male perspective, and when she comes from a woman's perspective, I'm not one of those guys that says, I understand. I understand. When it comes to females' issues, I can understand sort of things that when it comes to mentalities, but every mentality, bodily things, no, I'm never going to understand it. I actually really, really find a huge amount of issue with those that decide that, especially, man, right now, let's face it for what it is. It's older white men making decisions for women all across the U.S. Now, this is taking us a step back in women's rights. And again, I'm not a conspiracy person, but I'm telling you, it's dangerous to mess with history. It really is, because you are doomed to repeat it. And I can go through a million examples. That's what actually I'm having to write a big paper on that right now with mob theory and repeating the history, the inherent dangers of it. I've gone everywhere from Tulsa to the civil rights movement to the sit-in in Greensboro, North Carolina, to Rodney King, the LA riots, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And then you've got the dangerous individualistic theories, but they almost have somebody who's with them. Even the guy who shot everybody in Vegas, he was driven by influence, internet influence. Let's go ahead and talk about Alex Jones and Sandy Hook. Of all the people that believed him, followed him, were screaming his innocence this week, and there's still a Save Alex Jones thing up. His lawyers accidentally sent 2 years of text messages to the attorneys that were prosecuting him, the attorneys that worked for the family of a young boy that was killed. And the look on Alex Jones' face when, the other attorney asked him if he knows what perjury is. And I mean, he kind of had this look on his face like, oh, but it's the truth. All of his text messages came out where he said he never mentioned Sandy Hook. And I don't know why he was saying that. But basically, if you don't know, he claimed that massacre at Sandy Hook with the school shooter was all made up and they were trauma actors. And he went on with this a lot for years. As a matter of fact, he got up till he was making $800,000 a day off his supporters. and doomsday people with all his products being sold. And you're talking like pills to extend your life when the craziness goes down. And it's all nonsensical. But if you're good enough and you're charismatic enough, you're going to have people believe you. So what's the inherent danger? It's false prophecy. What do you do about that? It's easy. You don't sit there and believe something just because somebody says it. This is a dangerous problem, especially when it comes to those that take advantage of it in the church. And there is plenty right now. It's ridiculous. You look at Hillsong, even recently, it has to get old to somebody besides me that, these people are claiming, do as I say, not as I do. And that's what it boils down to. And thieves, liars, but praise Jesus. And the way they do it, I know with my experience here in Kentucky, the way they say praise Jesus actually hits me kind of familiar from history studies, but it's praise Jesus, praise Jesus, praise Jesus. Yeah, I'm not even going to say what that takes me to, because really I don't think it deserves it. But there's commonalities in that are scary, and it scares me. I'm not a fan of Osteen. Very much don't care who is. But it's again, even when it came down to the flood victims around there, he closed his church. Why? I thought that was a place of God. Didn't he want to protect people? Nobody pays attention to that. They just talk about how good of a job he does on Sunday morning. And I just had this conversation with a friend of mine. I was a little bit speaking in riddles on that one, which I tend to do. But when you get that group mentality, and it almost turns into like a little mafia of its own. You can come in, but you can't get out. I know, like, there's one group specifically that just hates me because I've called them out for some stuff. And that's what we should do. If we go along with it, I mentioned this last week, being a bystander does what for anybody? Nothing. All you're doing is you're helping. And to me, if you see something terribly wrong or something terribly wrong is going on and you don't say anything because you feel like you're talking about somebody else or somebody's telling you from a really pathetic minded bunch of crap that, no, you can't say anything. You can't say anything. That's gossip. You're talking about somebody. No. What you're doing is you're sitting back and you're enabling somebody to hurt somebody else. And that's the truth. Now, me, for example, I will quickly say something to somebody if I don't like it. I'll try and do it the soft way at first. And I'm not saying like I'm the big brute that's coming in there with the baseball bat. But I'm not scared to say, hey, this is what you did. I know you did it. Even if they're sitting there lying about it. And people don't expect you to do that. They don't expect you to be called out. If you ever notice when you're watching the news and so on, like I saw an interview with Donald Trump where he's sitting down there, and this was with CNN, and they show him a clip of an rally he was at where he was speaking. And and he was speaking some kind of nonsense. I don't even remember what it was. It doesn't matter. But I specifically remember he tells the lady, no, I didn't say that. And she's like, you just said it. It's right there on video. And he's like, no, I didn't say that. It's fake news. I got computers putting words in my mouth. Fake news. And it's like, oh my God, man, really? I mean, it's this disturbing part there is so many people believe that. And what you're doing is he's gotten it so polarized that you are not looking at another option. I mean, when I say you all, I mean, a lot on the right are, some are not. You got to think Dick Cheney was, so heavily right. His daughter is doing a fantastic job in prosecuting Trump, even though that's probably going to cost her her own seat. But she doesn't care. She's a right and wrong and believes in the Constitution. And that's just the way it goes. I mean, she's what you would call a true American. It's like, I hate giving them too much time. So It's really not worth it. But in talking about all that, what I was wanting to get to, no matter what, is there's no true leader except for Christ. I mean, there's really not. And for me to say that, I know that you didn't hear me 2 years ago. I've got plenty of videos I need to put up and show of how just twisted I'd become from the spirits that I was poisoning myself with. And I get it. I've heard people say, well, you were just an alcoholic. No. And I was a child of God that did some very wrong things. And I ended up dying for it. But I'm back, and I don't think God brought me back to just be weak-minded and do whatever somebody's telling you is right because they're telling you. It's, again, when you all and anybody that listens, if you don't hear anything else I've said, pay attention to this. I have to go over this every week because I'm still seeing stuff about the Biden things. I forget what it is. I don't know. They've got some kind of slogan. But and the gas prices. Biden has nothing to do with the gas prices. That pipeline had nothing to do with the gas prices. That wouldn't have made a change. All it is a transport tunnel. That's what it does, is it transports. All right. So they're not making oil there. They're not digging oil there, or whatever you call it, drilling oil there. So again, this is global market pricing. That means the gas prices are based all over the world, not in America. Joe Biden's not the president of the world, and it's not his fault. This can't even be blamed on Trump. If it were the left side blaming it on Trump, no, it's not even Trump's fault. It's not. So pay attention to your other man, and don't play the blame game. If you want to be activist and you want to do something about it, do it. But do it with a conscience, and do it with morals, and do it with ethics. And me saying that, I'm very hardcore about that now. When you go from derelict to learning how to be alive again through Christ, it makes a big difference in your life. And in the what was it, Kurt Cobain? I'd rather people hate me for who I am than love me for who I am not. And that's very true. So, one last thing here, when it gets into the power of individuals, and this will sum it up for us tonight. I do thank you all for listening. I was very off tonight because I've just had so much to do. End of the semester stuff kind of, can I use that I'm 46 for a reason too? No, I'm a perfectionist. This is a problem. So let's say the power of individuals. In affirming the power of social influence, we must not overlook the power of individuals, social control, the power of the situation, and personal control, the power of the individual interact. People aren't billiard balls. When feeling coerced, we may react by doing the opposite of what is expected, therefore reasserting our sense of freedom and self-worth. However, committed individuals can sway the majority and make social history. Were this not so, communism would have remained an obscure theory. Christianity would be a small Middle Eastern sect, and Rosa Parks' refusal to sit at the back of the bus would not have ignited the U.S. civil rights movement. Technology history, too, is often made by innovative minorities who overcome the majority's resistance to change. To many, the railroad was a nonsensical idea. Some farmers even feared that the train noise would prevent chickens from laying eggs. People derided Robert Fulton's steamboat as Fulton's Folly. As Fulton later said, never did a single encouraging remark, a bright hope, a warm wish cross my path. Much the same reaction that has greeted the printing press, the telegraph, and the incandescent lamp, and the typewriter. The power of one individual or two individuals to sway majorities is minority influence. And scientific studies of groups in which one or two individuals consistently express a controversial attitude or with an unusual perceptual judgment, one finding repeatedly stands out. When you are the minority, you are far more likely to sway the majority if you hold firmly to your position and you don't waffle. This tactic won't make you popular, but will make you influential, especially if your self-confidence stimulates others to consider why you react the way you do, even when a minority's influence is not yet visible. People may privately develop sympathy for the minority person in position and rethink their views. Let's get to this one more time. This is the bottom line of everything we've talked about, okay? The powers of social influence are enormous, but so are the powers of the committed individual. For classical music, Mozart mattered. For drama, Shakespeare mattered. For world history, Hitler and Mayo and Gandhi and Mandela mattered. Social forces matter, but individuals matter too. So you can take that where you want. And to me, the individual is not a Donald Trump. The individual is Jesus. Right, out of all those examples I just gave you where Christianity would be a small Middle Eastern sect, why is it a worldwide thing now? That's the power of Christ. No matter how much power a Trump had or a Hitler had or something like that, their self-serving purposes, they fell. And they fell hard. Gandhi, not so much. Nelson Mandela, not so much. They got a movement of goodness going, and that's your peace and love. And even Bob Marley, as he said it best, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and it'll be all right. So, with that said, that's it for me this week. And next week I'll come up with something a little more prepared, maybe. No, I don't know. It wasn't that too bad, but it wasn't that bad tonight. But anyway, think about what I said. Especially, I mean, put some real thinking into it on, are you worshiping people like Trump, Osteen, the mega churches where you live or anything like that? Are you worshiping them over top of worshiping Christ? If you are, the really big problem right there is with it's you. You're what they would consider a weak-minded individual that falls into prey of the group talk and the polarization. So, and that's not being mean to anybody. I'm just telling you, think for yourself, or find others that are kind of like maybe have moral and ethical values the same as you do. So with that said, I got to get off here, but I love you all. God bless and good night. Prayers for everybody in Kentucky with what's going on, and all the mass shootings that are going on, and just the chaos in general. It's really true. We need to find peace in this world. And I don't know the answer, but as once a doctor asked me, when he said he can't explain the way I was healing and stuff like that. And by the way, just 2 weeks ago now, again, I was looking through my doctor's notes the other day from my last CT scan. And, I went from last year having lesions all over the place in my liver. That's where they were saying I was going to have it was going to kill me. And it clearly shows my medical record, 0 lesions found. So, yeah, there's somebody that can do it. There's somebody who can figure it out. And I think maybe we need to give more thanks and praise to the Lord. Thank you much, and I'll talk to you all next week. And, have a good week. Let me see if I can lead you all out here with one thing. There we go.
Author, evangelist Corey Thomas, a dedicated servant leader whose weapons are spiritual in nature and volatile in impact. Hot off the press, author, evangelist Corey Thomas's new book, Sound Advice, Music and the Battle for Your Mind, Body, and Soul. Matthew 5:13, ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost his flavor, wherewith shall it be salted? It's author, evangelist Corey Thomas's new book, Sound Advice, Music and the Battle for Your Mind, Body, and Soul. Purchase your copy to help maintain that flavor in your spiritual walk. This book is epic. It's sold on every major online bookstore, or go to CoreyThomasMinistries.com. I got my copy. Be sure to get yours. It's author, evangelist Corey Thomas's new book, Sound Advice, Music and the Battle for Your Mind, Body, and Soul. Get your copy today.